So, hi everybody. Welcome to episode 2 of Close Corners. Coming back at you. Um,
Hello.
Hi, Holden's joining me again. Better get
Hado.
used to this guy. He's sticking around.
Hado. Hado.
Uh,
I'm sticky. I'm
yeah,
I'm
we
I'm
get
sticky. I slop around. You got to
yeah,
get a
we
little
get
scraper for me, and then you scrape me off the floor, and then now I'm stuck to your scraper, and you're like, no.
Yeah, how about that? Holden's like the
So
little bit of dust when you're sweeping. You can't get in the dustpan. It's just a straight line. That's Holden.
no, exactly. That's what I'm saying.
Okay,
Philosophical. If it's stone focus, philosophical ape 2 hours. There
that's
we
the
go.
one. All right, epic. Well, let's get on topic. Let's get serious. Not serious, but um, let's see. So, what were
No,
we gonna?
let's be serious. I'm gonna be really serious.
Okay, let's lock in. Okay.
Okay.
I thought, why not? We talked about the internet. Let's talk about real life. Let's talk about things grounded in reality. And what better way to do that than DIY music, DIY music scenes, and such similar things.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes, I
Oh,
guess.
so, I quite like DIY. I like going to shows. I like going into people's basements and doing whatever I got to do. And Holden does as well. So
I
we
do
have
as well.
a wealth of information.
I really enjoy that. Yes.
Would you like to plug your projects? Well, I mean, you've been involved in quite a few DIY projects. If we'll remember Security Stab.
Yeah. So I'll go a little bit back.
Hmm.
Um, the first thing I actually the DIY projects that I started actually like being like a musician, but also hosting an event like all happened at like exactly the same time
Hmm.
because the night that I used to be a part of a DIY like house show group or like a promotional group called Legoland. Um,
Legoland, Philadelphia.
yeah, Legoland PHL, which is still around. Yes, they're still
Back in
doing
action.
shows, which is really nice.
Hmm.
Um, I um, I used to be I used to be a part of Legoland, and we would host things from raves to just like different like maybe like acoustic or like experimental shows. We kind of did things all around, but for the time that I was a part of it, it was much more raves more than anything.
Hmm.
um
And that's about the time that I came back into the scene because for listeners of the first episode, you'll remember that Holden and I have known each other for quite some time. But going off to college, we kind of did our own things for a little bit. We kind of split off for a while, but luckily we came back together. And one of you know, my reintroduction to Holden was through the wonderful world of Legoland and just attending all these events and you know, kind of learning to love DIY music through that.
no, yeah.
Mm.
um and so for the first like Legoland show that we had, it was also going to be the first show for Security Stab. And
Right.
I think what Security Stab at that time was just like um us doing we just I think for that show we just had some like little persona and like played music. But then I think after that, I think we wanted to tie more performance art into it and kind of make it a little bit more silly, more absurd,
Hmm.
so to say. I think it was already like that at first because we literally did make a song called the Banana Song that we played at like almost every show.
That's a classic
Um,
banger. That one's gonna go in the Philadelphia history books,
um,
I would say.
which I don't know why. I don't know why that hasn't been released yet. I would like.
No,
I
you
think
guys got to
that's still.
record
I
that.
think that's the one hit wonder that should be released. Um, I uh that group was really fun. It was me and an old friend of mine, Sam,
Hmm.
um who yeah, we were basically, we were DJing, but at the same time like throughout the show was, many different um many different edits that we made, or different performance art stuff. Like we
Hmm.
always like to like end the show with something just like ridiculous, or during the show. Like I remember one show we had we had like security guard. We were like doing like playing the build up to like the Rude Sandstorm, because like the first part of our set was going to be like Euro trance kind of stuff. And we were playing like the build up to like the Rude Sandstorm, and then like we had like security guards. Like it was just our friends like dressed up to look like security guards.
Mhm.
Like in front of us to like tell us like stop playing the music, and because we got word that there was like a freak around, and it was
Oh,
just
the
like our
freak.
and it was just like we just like had the idea of like putting our friend Margot in like a diaper under the table, and like bring out like a wanted flyer for like this person, and then like at this point we like the music stopped. We like turned the music off because we had to bring this to everyone's attention. And so then like we were talking about it, and then fucking oh sorry
You good.
um and then outruns like our friend Margot in this diaper, and everyone's just like screaming, like disgusted, like chasing after them and everything. Like everyone was so riled up after it.
Mhm.
And then like it was just so angry. There's so much commotion. And then we just went back into like playing the drop for Darude Sandstorm, so it was really fun. Um
Yeah.
but that was a really good time. I really enjoyed doing that. I think that was a really good start in just doing something that like I didn't really. I think obviously when I went into it, I was like, oh, I want this to be so good, but like at the same time, like I think it was like really just like it was just silly, and it was fun
Mhm.
that it was silly. Um, and then so that was around for I think like a good few months, I would say around. So
Mhm.
I forget how long it was specifically, but after that, I think security stab. I kind of needed to take some more time for my own self,
Mhm.
and so security stab ended up moving on after when I think when my friend Margot took my spot, but I don't think they do security stab anymore.
Right.
Yeah, I don't believe so. Um, and then um what is it, I think after some time, um and just to give some dates, security stab was like more so that was kind of like 2021 into 2022, I believe, around so.
Mhm.
um and um then what is it, oh, and then comes in 2023. I got started um with a it used to be called Dish Return, but my band Vatican City Missile Crisis, which is just like I guess a mixture of like experimental rock and using like different found objects.
Mhm.
Um and then um and that's still going, and I'm really happy about that. Well, we have a show coming up that's really exciting
Mhm.
at Yuki Club, which is like a legitimate DIY venue, like ran you know, all DIY and everything.
Mhm.
But like it's able to host like pretty big artists. Um, and then I also have my own solo project that I would I would say is probably to me like equally, if not a little bit more important than I mean VCMC is obviously important to me, but this project that I've been working on for probably like 3 almost 4 years now, called Thin Walls,
Mhm.
is like at the heart of it a very DIY project. Basically going to like abandoned apartment buildings and making music with like the apartments themselves and the trash inside of it, and
Mhm.
kind of combining, kind of juxtaposing that atmosphere with the soundscape of like my own bedroom, my own house
Mhm.
sometimes, and kind of tying a lot of these different like sounds and like using like Casio keyboards or like broken game consoles and whatever to kind of create atmosphere and aesthetic. And so I hope to have that out by the that specific project out by the end of this year. But yeah, a lot of what I have been doing so far has been very much rooted in the heart of that anyone can make music. Everyone has
Hmm.
the ability to make music, and you don't need to have you don't need to have money. You don't need to have this you don't need to have like a record label. You don't need to have all this knowledge or experience, but like at the end of the day, it's just passion, just pure passion that
Right.
um that should be the driving force, and how
Hmm.
you get there, um you know is it doesn't matter how you get there. You just do it.
You
It's
just
just
do it. Yeah, and I think that why it's also lovely and or really appealing is freedom and community. I think those are really the two
Right.
tenets that appeal to me is the freedom to do whatever you want musically with sound doesn't even really have to be music, I guess, but just the fact that it is so close knit and there's such strong bonds between so many figures and people in the kind of sphere. And I'm sure this is the same for scenes all across the country and even the world, but just the way that people are able to just respect each other and their work, but also endorse their work and spread it and
Right.
appreciate it. And I think that's a really beautiful function of DIY is the community and sharing.
right. Yeah, absolutely. Like I think it's very much what makes that what it is that it's not, it's the people. It's just really, it really is just people at the end of the day. It's not like product and consumer. It's,
Mhm.
people coming together to make music, um promote each other's music, help share each other's music. Like that communal factor of DIY music is what's so important to the heart of it.
Mhm.
um and I think like if it weren't for that community interaction and people really really coming together in person to you know help each other out and also promote music in such a local scale, like I feel like that's what's so, like, I don't know, I think it's just so great that like people are still doing that, despite how much
Mhm.
more globalized music has become now, right?
Right.
So like I think basically uh yeah, like it's just, yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Oh, very good points. True. Mm-mm.
I think another thing I could go to say
Mhm.
is that like um a lot of I feel like it's just like a lot of what makes it so special is that like you're kind of, I don't know, it's different from like going to like an official venue and
Mhm.
seeing something, at least in the sense of DIY, um like DIY shows. Like
Right.
it's different than going to like a whole venue, like, but more so that like a lot more so that like a lot of the people just like know each other,
Right.
and it's kind of cool that like people can do that and provide like can do that for like a community. It's obviously very inherently political to that,
Mhm.
you know whatever product or whatever is not getting in between people communicating, but that people are getting are being surrounded by true authentic people, and getting a true authentic experience that gives the power to you know those very people to start and make those things happen,
Yeah. Totally makes
basically.
sense. hmm I'm trying to think where I fit into this discussion. As someone who isn't involved with any projects directly, just being more of a community member, I suppose.
Yeah,
Um,
tell me how. I mean, I guess more in like an outside looking in, like what do you experience when you come to a lot of these spaces?
I think just like electricity, just the 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 carefree fun. I think just yeah, the community, seeing people I don't really see, people I only see when I come to events.
Right.
It's always a great time. I'm always super excited to come and see everyone smiles and hug everybody and listen to music with everybody. And you don't even really have to listen to music if you don't want. You can just sit outside and talk with people. I love that part of it. It really just feels like, hmm, how would I put it? I just keep coming back to community because it just sticks out to me. For sure. I think that from the perspective of somebody who uh, isn't directly, in the scene because I do live a little far away and I usually have to make the trek. Um, I almost wish to some extent that I could be more ingrained in the community, live closer, and come to more things because I feel like what you and other DIY movers and shakers do is really important as a not only a creative outlet but as a facet of culture um, as well. It's all.
Mhm.
And you did say outside looking in, and that is true because I think in your uh, integration into the scene was very natural. I think it's fair to say, just being around people who were doing things. But for me, I was kind of introduced all at once. I was kind of thrown into it
Right.
by being your friend and attending my first events.
Right.
Um,
And I
I
imagine it's kind of different because it's just like you're like, especially because um at a moment where like I hadn't seen you for like a while,
mhm,
like you were being integrated into like a completely, I don't know, foreign community to what you've might have experienced elsewhere,
right. And it's definitely the first music community I want to say I've been really involved with. I kind of in the past always appreciated music in a pretty solitary way, just because I didn't have anybody to share it with, um, to the extent that I would have liked to. But now I really have that, in with all these people, and I definitely treasure it. Um, but yeah, just like being introduced to it so suddenly, it was a bit intimidating. There's a lot of very strong characters who have long histories with each other and a lot of camaraderie, and to kind of just be a plus one in that environment was intimidating initially, but what I really found was just how lovely and kind everyone was and how willing to accept they are. It was just a really, really nice thing, and I'm happy to be involved in it.
No, yeah, that makes me happy to hear.
Mm-hmm.
I think the thing is that like I totally understand like going into new spaces and being like, oh, like do I fit in here? Like
Mm-hmm.
what do people think of me? Like what is this all really? And like I think I think really like people like these spaces are so important because people really do just want to connect with people on like a
Yeah.
very true and real level,
Mm-hmm.
and I think like music especially is something that can bring that together. I think it's just important to like culture, whether that's that's this culture through DIY music, or if that's like someone else's culture, like
Mm-hmm.
I think like DIY music is definitely a culture that I've been more involved with than maybe other ones,
Mm-hmm.
and so like I think like the fact that there's kind of like that ability to um there's this ability to have a space and be who I want to be, and not, worry about what people think
Hmm.
about me, and also more so be accepted for who I am. I feel like is just so important.
Yeah, and I would certainly agree with that. I think our tastes and sensibilities in our growing up in a white suburb, we're kind of, I think this was definitely the creative outlet and creative appreciation we were maybe looking for back then.
Oh,
Just
absolutely.
being able to freely express ourselves and not worry about um tired systems of judgment, just being able to truly be yourself and have people appreciate that. And I think that's the most important part because you can be yourself all day, but if nobody's respecting that, it makes it hard to continue to want to be yourself.
Right. And I think you put it very well with, like, tired systems of judgment, because I
Mm,
think what is also really important about these spaces is how much they're rooted in, you know, um, like, uh, in people of color, or, queer
mhm,
communities, you know, people who are trans, whoever may be,
mhm,
um, like, not worrying so much about where you're coming from, or if you are different from everyone else, but,
mhm.
like, that anyone can be, who they are, as they are, and, one shouldn't be judged by it. It's a safe space for everyone with any sort of background, and,
Mhm.
you know
And I think what
yeah.
sticks out to me most is definitely the queer acceptance. Somebody who
Oh, same.
personally grew up as a very anti-queer environment, but always kind of knowing that I was who I was. It was really difficult.
Yeah.
But I think the burgeoning and like my introduction to DIY really showed me that there is acceptance and there is uh, community in that way. I've heard about, queer culture and queer spaces, but I was never able to experience any.
Right.
And it's just been really important to me to, not only for me, but for the community at large to have that, that
Oh, yeah.
camaraderie and
Oh, yeah.
that centralized kind of
Mm-hmm.
thing.
Yeah, I would even go to say that, like, a lot of this DIY culture was like my gateway into queer culture, and
Hmm.
even at the same time, like, my gateway into understanding myself as a queer individual.
Hmm.
Like I think that, everyone, especially, comes from, like, a different background. Like,
Right.
I don't think, not everyone was, the person that they may see themselves, now, or people now aren't the person, that they may see themselves in years from now. But, like,
Hmm.
I remember, like, going into these things as a completely different person, and, like, I've learned so many things that make me, that now, like, have where I now feel more understanding of what it means to be, like, queer, what it means to be a part of community and being communal, and
Hmm.
also, like, so, like, all that stuff like that. Like, I feel like these spaces are really great at just, like, bringing things to such an individual level. Like,
Hmm.
I it really does, like, elicit that feeling. Yeah.
Right. And just the power of music is what it all just really comes back to for
Oh,
me
yeah.
is people bothering to get together, um, not only to see each other but to hear what they're doing, hear what the next thing is. I think that's lovely. I really think it's great for people to support each other, and when it's so close knit, you can really palpably feel the love, not only for music but for each other. Um,
Hmm.
but it's yeah, it's very, it feels important to me, just the place that music holds in my life, and in large parts through the friends that I've made, but also in my self-discovery. I think that music adjacent culture and like music, uh internet discussion has really brought me to things that I really love, and and I've come to people I really love too, through through accepting myself and learning to better accept others. And I, I'm grateful. I just feel grateful.
Yeah, no, it's no, same.
Hmm.
Um, that actually leads me to a question for you because you
Sure.
mentioned internet discussion. Um, do you think you could tell? Because I feel like you would have a little more familiar with. I mean, I have some background to it, but I
Right.
think you would have a much more deeper background to it
Hmm.
than I. The communality, if that's even a word,
Right.
of like, I guess DIY in like an internet space, or
Right.
more so, uh, community in like an internet space that could
Hmm.
also, you know, share the same, almost a very similar um ethos to
Right.
DIY.
Hmm.
Yeah.
I think that growing up in the environment that I did, my only outlet for being who I, you know, really wanted to be was internet. I think, and that led me to really kind of explore myself uh, in that space. I think that SoundCloud, my use of SoundCloud has been really important and developmental for me. I remember being 13, 14 and coming across Nightcore for the first time, and it really it blew my mind because I think I held some sort of appreciation for those kinds of sounds because of the music in video games that I grew up with. Like
All right.
if you look at an SSX or you look at like just any like extreme sports game, the
Oh
banging
yeah.
electronic soundtracks, and I think that I was able to identify those as sounds that I really liked and just build onto that. And I think that's where SoundCloud really came in for me, is being able to find extremely independent acts of really anything. I mean, for a while when I was a juvenile, I only really used it to listen to like funny mashups and memes and people, shit posting, so to say.
Right.
But when I discovered how great SoundCloud was as a tool to discover new things, I think that, it was a significant moment for me. And I think to tie it to DIY, it would be kind of harder to say because it is less unifying, because it's not a physical place where people can meet, but more just a digital space where people can exchange ideas.
Mhm.
Um, but I think
Right.
that's equally important. I don't think
Absolutely.
I would not have the tastes I have today, which I'm very happy and grateful to have, without that early stage of internet music development, I guess you
Right.
could say.
Yeah.
Mhm.
I that you bring a lot of stuff actually just made me think a lot. Like even around that same time when you're talking about like 13 and 14, I remember like when I was my kind of my gateway into like kind of crafting the like my little niche in the music that I like was
Mhm.
like first when I was starting to like listen to Skrillex, and then like I just
Fuck
got
yeah.
more into like the broader general arena of like dubstep, and then eventually
Mhm.
like rhythm that was coming out. And so like um the one where it kind of I remember like the community, actually there's like two communities more specifically that I was a part of. One was a game community and one was a music community. I
Mhm.
was very much playing um this game called Blockland, which
Oh
for
shit.
those that, if no one knows what this game is, which is very fair, it's like, I mean, like I don't really know anyone that knows this game,
I did.
um, except for Tyler, of course. But it's basically, it was kind of like a microcosm of like, but like bit like online, like 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 Lego building kind of
Mhm.
games. Like
I
this,
would call it
this,
like a Roblox. What Roblox, the niche Roblox fulfills today, was
yeah.
Blockland 10 years ago.
Oh yeah, like Blockland was like, but the thing that separates something like Blockland, that separates Blockland from something like Roblox and
Mhm.
Minecraft. Which, by the way, those two, I mean, Roblox started at the same time, but Roblox I think got released later. I Blockland was just one of the earliest things because it was around like Second Life
Mhm.
kind of time. Um, But the thing was Blockland was like literally like building like literal Legos.
Right.
It was like literally the pieces you built with were reminiscent of Legos. They were built like Legos. You know, everything, you know, the aesthetic, all of it was to Legos. But anyways, a lot of the people that I connected with were in like a DIY community, especially like a niche one, considering that Blockland itself was a kind of a DIY made game, was through the official Blockland forums.
Right.
You know, people talking about the game, people even doing like general discussions, off-topic discussions, and then on the music side, I was on the Skrillex Mothership forum, which was basically just it was just a forum dedicated to Skrillex, or even just like dubstep music, or of course any off-topic stuff. You know, it's just a place to gather a community on such niche subjects and topics. So on the Skrillex Mothership forums and like Blockland forums, there were places I could go to that were very much community led, because I didn't have any sort of, I definitely did not have any sort of places like that geographically to me, like living like where I lived. So that was like my first, like those were my first places of kind of like engaging in niche interest, you know. Because you know, that was just kind of the beauty of the internet and allowing me to do that. And then like came when I got like a little bit older, I still had my interest in like dubstep and rhythm, and then I was starting to be able to go to shows, and then I was able to meet people through those shows and make friends from all that kind of stuff. It was people coming together because of like this niche interest, you know. And so then that, you know, obviously because like we all love that music, that then translated into when I kind of started to fall more away from like that kind of music, it kind of translated more into like me being a part of like the greater DIY community when I was like starting to live in like Philadelphia, because my music taste was starting to move away from that, like from like a lot of that kind of stuff into, you know, into a lot of different areas of music, whether that may be like experimental or stuff like that, which was definitely much more shown in those communities. And so yeah, I feel like the internet presence is especially very important in like establishing establishing like those like communities and like whether they're like online or like in person. Yeah, basically.
Music and community, I guess, have always gone hand in hand. Just being able to share art, it's awesome, you know.
Right.
Yeah, DIY, shout out everybody doing anything. It's better to do something than to do nothing, you know. That's really what I've been inspired to feel.
Even if you think you're doing nothing, you are doing something. Don't beat yourself up over it. You are very much capable, you know. Yeah,
it's a beautiful lesson we can learn.
Give yourself that power, because you do have it. You just gotta let yourself take it, you know. And like I like, you know, I think the if there's one last thing I want to say before we cap this off, is that, you know, DIY music is a tool, you know. It's the ability to, you know, spread a message beyond, like, you know, just from the individual, you know. It makes it feel much more real, you know, more connected in a world that is otherwise, I feel like, a little bit more increasingly more isolating, in my opinion. So
yeah, I would have to agree with that opinion. I think that people are very divided, and that's why I think institutions like music scenes are so important. to
Yes,
bring
so
people
yes.
together, to let people talk, to share ideas and grow their ideas and mature. I think that my musical journey, if we want to call it that, has really coincided with my coming of age, my development, my growth into who I am today. And again, like just the power of music, just that ability to find yourself and then find other people makes it all worth it.
Right.
Right. Well, I guess
Absolutely.
that's my closing thought. So we'd like to thank you, as always, for tuning in, checking us out. We'll be coming back around with something for you, a
Yay.
little chit chat.
Ha
And
ha.
we hope that you'll enjoy it, and we hope that you enjoyed this. Thank you so much.
Yep, yep. Take care, take care.
Bye, everybody.
Bye.